Well, it's perfectly gloomy outside today. Feels like fall. Hi kids, welcome back to another pizza party. I'm Mrs. Pizza, and today we are here to talk about some new and upcoming releases in the book world. I like to do this like right as it's happening, so we're here to talk about the most recent releases that piqued my interest in the month of September. That way, if you're interested, if something on this list piques your interest, you can get your grubby little paws on them as soon as possible. So let's talk about some books. In case you're wondering, Cheese is here. And when he's there, they're sleeping. And I prefer they're sleeping because they've been a lot today because it's been raining all day and they don't like that they can't go outside. All right, let's talk about some books. We're going to do this in release order. So the first book that we're going to talk about is The Life Impossible, and this is by Matt Haig. This comes out on September 3rd. This is the author that brought us The Midnight Library, which I feel like was kind of a hit at the time. That book was one of those books that I feel like everybody and their mother's cousin and their mother's next door neighbor was reading. He tends to have a little bit of magic in his stories, not necessarily full-blown fantasy, but there's a little bit of a magical realism touch to them. So this is another one of those stories. We have Grace, who is a retired math teacher, and she inherits a house on a Mediterranean island from a friend that has recently passed away. So Grace buys a one-way ticket and heads off to Ibiza. And when she gets there, she's investigating her friend's life, but also her friend's death. She wants to know what happened. And in this, she finds out there's a little bit more going on than she anticipated. Things are stranger than she ever could have imagined. This author's stories tend to be about life, about depression, about emotions, about working through you and how you see yourself and deal with life. They're very... Is it esoteric? What's the word? No, esoteric is not the word. Cerebral? No, I don't know. There's a word that describes it, and it's not coming to me right now. But they tend to be using some sort of small magical element or small kind of sci-fi magical piece to really explore like an individual and how they feel about themselves and how they feel about life and their life views. I'm interested in this, and I liked The Midnight Library just fine, and so I don't see why I wouldn't like this one as well. The next book on this list is Us in Ruins, and this also comes out on September 3rd because apparently September the 3rd was the day that all the books came out, in case you were wondering. This is touted as a magical adventure rom-com, which sounded right up my alley. Love that. This is a story of Margot, and she is obsessed with finding this magical relic. She's very into archaeology and history, and there's this magical vase that she is determined to find because not only is it broken, but it's magical, so if she can find it and repair it, something magical is going to happen. And the way that Margot plans on finding this magical relic is with this journal from this boy that was also very into history and archaeology, but he went missing back in the 1930s. So she has this journal full of clues, and she's reading through this journal, and she's slowly kind of falling for the author of this journal, even though she'll never meet him. And she's on this archaeology? Holy sh! That word was not coming out no matter how hard I tried. She's on this trip with, I believe, her school to do some sort of archaeological dig. There you go. Got it out first time. When she finds this statue that she believes resembles the boy from her journals, and then it comes to life. So I believe these two are going to have some sort of romance where they're also trying to find a magical relic. Magic, romance, adventure. It's also got an absolutely gorgeous cover. It sounds amazing. The next book on this list is Hot Hex Boyfriend, and this is by Carly Bloom. And you guessed it, comes out on September 3rd. This is the story of Dalia, and she doesn't believe in witches or magic or any of that nonsense, but her family does. They claim to be a family of witches, and they think she is the great big chosen one because she has a special birthmark on her, and they're like, girl, you're going to save the whole family from this hex that we have been under for generations. She's thinking everybody's lost their dang minds, but it's her family, so okay. And then she might accidentally lift the curse and be thrust into this whole world she didn't know existed of underground magic and witches and covens, and there just might be... My washing machine literally just decided to take flight. If you can hear that, I don't know. My house might be getting ready to explode, so if I suddenly disappear, We all know what happened. But our main character also has a hot new neighbor that just moved next door who might also be part of this witchy underworld and who might be involved in the hex that has been stifling her family's magic for generations. This sounds like it's a witchy rom-com with somebody that didn't know anything about witchy worlds, and our hot neighbor guy might be a witchy guy. I mean, I think that sounds super cute. Next up, coming out on September 3rd, is Immortal Dark, and this is by Tigest Girma. This is a new romantic dark academia vampire story, which is touted as for fans of The Cruel Prince and Ninth House, which I've tried multiple times to read The Cruel Prince and it just hasn't happened for me, but I'm a big fan of Ninth House. Where's she at? Big fan. This is the story of a lost heiress who must infiltrate a secret society and live with the vampire she thinks not only killed her family, but kidnapped her sister. This is going to be, I'm sure, absolutely... My brain just short-circuited. Enemies to lovers. Oh my god, what is going on with my brain today? This is definitely going to be enemies to lovers. It's dark academia. There's vampires. The cover is immaculate. I am very excited about this one. Our next book, coming out on September 10th, is So Thirsty, and this is by Rachel Harrison. Rachel Harrison has given us a lot of fun books over these past couple years, my favorite being Such Sharp Teeth. Such Sharp Teeth is Rachel Harrison's werewolf novel. So Thirsty is Rachel Harrison's vampire novel. She tends to do like a little bit of a feminist twist on creatures and uses horror elements to talk about very, very different things. I really enjoy Rachel Harrison books, and so I'm excited about Rachel Harrison vampires. Let's see, what is So Thirsty about? This is the story of Sloane, and she's dreading her birthday, but her husband gifts her with a weekend away with her best friend. She anticipates cozy robes, drinking wine, girl talk, even though she wants to avoid the topic of her husband's multiple infidelities. Apparently he's an asshole. That's not the weekend she gets. See, Sloane's best friend, Naomi, and her end up partying with a group of people, really living it up, and then things go awry, and now both Naomi and Sloane's lives have been changed drastically. It says the friends are forced to come to terms with some pretty eternal consequences in this bloody, seductive novel about how it's never too late to find satisfaction, even though it might taste different than you expected. I'm here for anything Rachel Harrison, but Rachel Harrison vampire sounds like a good time. The next book on this list is A Dark and Drowning Tide, and this is by Allison Saft and comes out on September 17th. This is an academic rivals to lovers situation, and I believe it's sapphic. This is a sharp-tongued folklorist must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder. That is a tongue twister. Their mentor's murder in this lush and enthralling sapphic fantasy romance. The cover of this looks dark and moody. I've heard this is very gothic and dark and sexy, so why not? Why not? The next book coming out on September 17th is Rewitched, and this is by Lucy Jane Wood. This is about a witch who's lost her spark. Also, her name is Belladonna. Belladonna Blackthorn, which is a very witchy name. You know, good witchy name. Balancing work at her beloved Lunar Books with protecting it from her toxic boss, who's running it into the ground, and all the while concealing her witchcraft from the non-Wiccas around her. Bella's burnt out. It sounds like with an upcoming birthday, our main character might lose her magic forever, and so must find herself a coven and work with her newfound family to find love, happiness, and magic in her life. It sounds like a cozy, good, witchy found family time. I love found family. I love witchy. I love not having dog hair in my lip gloss because I'm pretty sure I do. My life is just covered in dog hair. Got it. But that comes out on September 17th and I'm excited about it. I love cozy, witchy stories just in time for fall. The next book coming out after that is Evil in Me, and this is by Brom. Brom is the author of Slewfoot, which is a very witchy autumnal tale. I like to physically own Brom's books because Brom is also an illustrator, and his books usually contain his amazing, haunting illustrations of characters within the story. I am definitely going to be physically purchasing Evil in Me, which is this author's newest novel of possession, damnation, and rock and roll, where one woman must get the world singing in order to save her soul. Ruby Tucker has had enough of her small rural town and dysfunctional family, but a falling out with her best friend and bandmate has killed her dreams of escaping and making it big in the Atlanta punk scene. While helping her eccentric neighbor organize his religious relics, an ancient ring clamps down on her finger, possessing her with the spirit of a bloodthirsty demon. And there's no getting it off unless hundreds of people chant the spell spell to set Ruby free. Demonic rock stars. Demonic rock stars. This also says that the physical copy comes with nearly 24 of Brom's immersive paintings and brilliant end papers. It's going to be a beautiful book. It's going to be a damn beautiful book. It sounds like a good read too. Next up, coming out on September 24th, we have Devils Kill Devils, and this is by Johnny Compton. This is the same author that brought us The Spite House. This says it's perfect for fans of Sylvia Moreno Garcia's Certain Dark Things and Southern Gothic horror. Sarita has been watched over by a guardian angel her entire life. She calls him Angelo and keeps him a secret. But secrets can't stay buried forever. When Angelo murders someone she loves, Sarita begins to see what is really lurking beneath the shadows. This is a story of angels, demons, and all kinds of other things. It even says there might be vampires in here as well. I am interested. To find out that your guardian angel hasn't been an angel all along sounds like a pretty interesting read to me. And last but not least on this list, we have Graveyard Shift, and this is by M.L. Rio. This comes out on September 24th. I'm sure you've heard of this author before. If you are into dark academia, their story If We Were Villains is definitely on the top of a lot of people's lists. But this one has mushrooms on the cover, and we know any horror that involves mushroom, mold, fungus, dampness is very, very effective to me. So, of course, I am intrigued by something that has mushrooms on the cover. This is the story of a ragtag group of people who meet in a cemetery to unearth the secrets of what's lurking in an open grave. It says, every night in the college's ancient cemetery, 5 people cross paths as they work the late shift. A bartender, a rideshare driver, a hotel receptionist, the steward of the derelict church that looms over them, and the editor-in-chief of the college paper, always in search of a story. One dark October evening in the defunct churchyard, they find a hole that wasn't there before. A fresh, open grave where no grave should be. But who dug it? And for whom? It's supposed to be atmospheric and eerie. It's a group of people, all from different walks of life, working together to solve this mystery, but also with that academic backdrop that this author definitely seems to succeed at. Also, mushrooms. There's gonna be mushrooms. But that, kids, is a list of books that are coming out in September to absolutely decimate your TBR. You thought you were doing good, didn't you? You thought, I've really made some headway this year, and then I came along and ruined it for you. I wish I could say I was sorry. I'm not sorry at all. Because my TBR is just a big old bloated bitch. I think I'm slap happy today. I don't know maybe because we can't go outside because it's raining. Me and the dogs, we're losing our minds. But that, kids, is where we're going to end this upcoming releases. If you had fun hanging out with me and the dogs, please subscribe. I hope you're reading good books out there wherever you are, and I'd love to hear about them. And I'll see you next time.